Hello and welcome to the season 4 playoff review. We're going to take a look at the matchups, the teams, and I'll give my picks on who I think is going to go through to the next round and ultimately win the thing. I had recorded this with Sirius about an hour ago, and I may have accidentally not enabled my microphone. So this is going to be a shorter version of what you would have got. Next week, me and Sirius will do the next round. So apologies, and yeah, thanks to Sirius as well, because he gave me like 40 minutes of his time this morning, and yeah, I done goofed there, so whoops. So we'll look at the brackets first of all. So we've got Well of Darkness versus the Chanting Horde, and the Thick Fuckers versus the the Lazy Loopy Lizards on one side of the bracket, and on the other side we have High Elf Robbery versus Bridgingazir, and Fisherman's Salty Tales versus the Magic Kitties. So yeah, we'll jump into the first match. Well of Darkness versus the Chanting Horde. So Well of Darkness, our escaping team, had a pretty good record. These guys came second in Division 2. Easily a level 6 coach on Blood Bowl 2, but he's a very experienced player. I know him back from Fumble about 8 or 10 years ago now, so very, very good quality coach. Know he's won leagues in the past. He's got a nice setup for his team. So he's got a block Claw Mighty Blow Storm Vermin. He's not got the pilot on yet, but I think honestly it's going to be effective enough. I think probably Tackle might be a good shout on that for the next one, but yeah, really nice looking player there. He's not got a lot of wasted SPP, so his SPP is kind of where you'd want it to be. So he's got 2 block linemen, which could come in handy. He's got a Blodge Sidestep Gutter Runner, a Horns Wrestle Gutter Runner, which will be really good defensively, and then just a straight up Strength Up. 12 players in total, 100k in the bank. He is the underdog. However, his opponent has quite a lot of gold he's not spent yet, so that could change. But fairly solid team. No like amazing stat freaks or anything like that, although you could argue that that is a stat freak, but he's got no sort of supporting skills yet to make him super scary. This guy's on his way though. This guy could cause some real problems. We'll take a look over at the Chanting Horde. So this is a Chaos team. Comes in at 1350. This is Sirius's brother, who's obviously much better at Blood Bowl than he is. Guys running a Chaos team. First of all, we can see it's a little bit banged up. So there's 2 players missing. There's an AV8 Chaos Warrior there. If I'm avenged here, I've got 230k in the bank. I probably just buy 2 new warriors and go back up to 4 normal strength. You're losing 6 SPP over 2 players. I think it's worth doing. That would leave you with 30k in the bank, and I believe that would take you to... Would he be an underdog after that? No. No, he wouldn't be the underdog, but he wouldn't be giving up much. He's got some nice development on this team, so he's got the movement on the Beastman here, which I actually think is incredibly effective. Most things tend to move around at like movement 6, so having movement 7 on a player is great. It'll also help him keep in range of the gut runners as well. He's also got 2 defensive beastmen as well, both with Wrestle, which will be really good at getting the Blodge players down, so quite a handy one here. Block on 1 Chaos Warrior, and then the star player of the team for me is this Block Tentacles Minotaur. This thing could be an absolute menace. There's nothing really bar the Claw Mighty Storm Vermin that's going to say much to this guy, and even then he'll need about 3 friends to help him. This guy could cause absolute havoc if he gets off. And also if he can tie up a couple of the gutter runners as well with tentacles, then he could really shut down some of the offensive play from the Skaven. Really like this team, looks really strong. Um, I'm debating who to pick here for the winner. I'm gonna go with Easily Amused on this one, because I think Skaven, if there's any mistakes in positioning whatsoever or just an unlucky bounce in the ball, Skaven can just score straight away. But that's not to say that Avenged doesn't have a nice team. It is really nice. I wouldn't be upset if I saw the Chaos go through to the next round. I'll point out as well here that Sirius did actually pick Avenged for to win this matchup, so he's backed his brother on this one. Next up, we've got the Thick Fuckers versus the Lazy Loopy Lizards. So let's take a look at the orcs now. They're a little short on players. I think those barrels could perhaps be used to distract some of the opposition players, but we'll have to see how it works. Twisted Candy is a man that demands perfection from his players, and I've got to say I respect that. And a number of his players, that number is actually 11, underperformed in a game last season, so they were all immediately fired. So Twisted Candy will essentially be in the top spot of our playoffs with a team of loner orc linemen. He has 90k, so if I was him, I'd be very tempted to pick up a blitzer just so you've got block. And I'd probably be tempted to throw away my rerolls as well, because he's never going to have enough players, even if he goes to the final, he's never going to have enough players for those rerolls to really be that useful. Because right now it's just 120, 180k of bloat, essentially. So he might as well just get rid of that. And maybe he might be able to get some like interesting star players and stuff like that if he gets later on. But yeah, can't really talk about this team too much because there's not much of it. Good coach though, good coach. The Lazy Loopy Lizards. Now this is Amelisa, so she joined us midway through the season and very quickly got into a qualification spot. She was tied with Mr. Ben to make playoffs. However, when we looked at the head-to-head record, she won that game 3-1. Shout out to Mr. Ben, by the way. He does all our website hosting, so again, thanks for that, bud. She's got a fairly underdeveloped team. However, she does have a lot more players than the Thick Fuckers. So yeah, this is quite an interesting one. She's got Leap on 1 Skink and Block on a Saurus and 3 rerolls. Obviously, she can make use of her rerolls here. Pretty good coach from what I've seen. Sirius picked the Lizards to win. I'm going to pick Twisted Candy, A, because he's my boy, and B, if there's a coach that can win a game with just a full loner team, I believe it's Twisted Candy. I think he's the best coach we have in our league. So I think if anyone can make it happen, it's him. Okay, so next up we have High Elf Robbery versus the Grudging Azir. So let's look at High Elf Robbery first of all. So these guys were the runners up in Division 2. I believe it went to a tie-break between Fidel and Artnalax, and Fidel won that 3-1 in the regular season, so obviously Fidel made the cut here. Pretty nice team. So we've got to remember it's low team value here, but the team value is going to jump up because it's down 2 players. It's down this catcher, first of all, which is 160k, and it's also down probably a lineman, you've got to say. So they've taken a lot of deaths, so they've taken 6 deaths this season, which is about the same as I took. So massive respect to Fidel, or the half-Italian stallion, whatever you want to call him, for having the mental resilience to still keep playing and actually get second place in our hardest division. So Yeah, massive respect to him. Obviously a very, very skilled coach. And to be a CCL finalist 3-1 is incredibly impressive. So yeah, well done on that one, Fidel. Nice team. He has got you know, a decent thrower developed. He still has a catcher, and to be honest, that's all Elves need to win a match. You know, if he had run into one of the less developed teams, I would really, really like his chances in the first round. The problem I find is that he has run into Ghost, and Ghost team is horrific. There are things I really like about Ghost team, and there are things I really don't like about it. So let's cover those off first of all. The thing that I don't like about it is how we've spaced out the players on here, because it just massively triggers me when I look at it, and I find it really hard to just not lose my shit. So Ghost, what are you doing to me, man? In terms of player skills, I really like what he's done, because it shows that he understands the team, and he's not just doing a standard cookie cutter, this is how you build dwarves build, which is what 99.9% of the players out there do. Troll Slayer's taking a Troll Slayer. I do not see the point in taking dwarves if you do not take a Troll Slayer. That's the whole point in them. They're so cool. He's not gone Mighty Blow first, which I was a little shocked by, but he's gone Jump Up and he's gone Piling On. So that does make sense, because if you use Piling On all the time, 100% of the time, it's actually statistically more effective than just Mighty Blow on its own. So if he's planning on just standing up, smashing someone, standing up, smashing someone, you might as well do it in that order, and you know, he's not too far off getting that Mighty Blow, which will obviously smash the numbers up quite significantly. He's got a Death Roller, which again, massively respect. I don't see the point. Like, the big guys in general, they have such an impact on the game, whether it's positive or negative. I don't think you can leave them out. This isn't like an Olympic sport, right, where you've got to work out everything to the millisecond. I think this is a game where it's about rolling dice, having fun, and I think if you don't take stuff like the Death Roller and the Minotaurs and things like that, I think you're playing the wrong game. Or you're playing Blood Bowl for the wrong reasons. It's supposed to be fun. Take the fun shit. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. He's got a thrower, and this is, I did say that correctly because it says runner there, but he's built this as a thrower, and obviously he's got the minus movement on there as well, so he's not going to be making any breaks, but he is able to get the ball out fairly well. Two blitzes, scaled up pretty nicely, might blow on both of those, and then movement on one of them as well, so one's a little bit faster, although faster for a dwarf, should probably add in there. And then we go to the Longbeards, and I absolutely love what he's done here, because I don't think there's anyone in the playoffs with tackle apart from these dwarves. So having a blodge player on the line is just going to be so irritating. Also has Mighty Blow, another Mighty Blow, so there's going to be 5 Mighty Blow on the field at some points, and then he's taking guard here. So this is what I was saying when I say he's built the team incredibly well. A lot of dwarf coaches, and even dwarf coaches that are considered like fairly good, will just guard spam, and they'll literally, you'll look at this and all you'll see is just guard the whole way down here. And I would say a good number of guard is probably 3, because any more than that and you're basically telling your opponent that you don't know how to position. And guard is only useful if you understand positioning. So if you have like a full-on guard team, your opponent will still be able to get 2 dice blocks, because they'll be able to position in a way where they control it. A really good example of this, I'm gonna give a game where Alex won actually, so it's going to be difficult to think that far back. I'm trying to remember the chap he played. It was actually in his CCL run, so he's going to love me bringing this up. I'm trying to remember the chap's name. He was playing Bert's. I can't remember his name. Ark had just guard spam, like just so much guard, it was ridiculous. However, in the first half on the defense, the Burt coach basically just didn't let Ark use his guard, and it's just so easy to counter when you know that's your opponent's game plan. It's so easy to counter. Second half, the guy, I think it was Calais, I think it might have been Calais, made a huge mistake, and he grouped his players up, and then Ark just wrapped around him like a sandwich, and that's when guard spam will win you a game, because there was nothing, I think it was Calais, there's nothing he could do to get out. But in the first half, he showed that if you just don't group up, guard is useless. So I really like the way Ghost has built this. He's prioritised other skills. Obviously, like, probably a little bit more guard would be good, but I think it's absolutely fine where it is. I'm going to pick the Dwarfs here because I think they're really well built, and nothing to do with coaching skill or anything like that, because Fidel is obviously a really good coach, and it's been able to deal with a lot of adversity and beat Arknights 3-1. Sirius has also gone for Grudging Gazir as well. So there's a lot of people backing the Dwarfs at the moment. And then, yeah, that takes on to our final match, which is the Fisherman's Salty Tails versus the Magic Kitties. So let's look at the Fisherman's. First of all, absolutely awesome team. So there's no like triple skills or anything like that, but he's got a really good foundation. Sirius was impressed with two things. So the Wolves he didn't really mention because they don't need mentioning, right? But he pointed out two things. He pointed out the block on these guys because it makes them much more useful as an offensive weapon rather than just some sort of like line fodder. And the other thing that he was really impressed by was the kick. So having kick on the zombie and being able to limit where your opponent can go, offensively is actually really good. Also, you know, you can pin the ball back. You've got these two incredibly fast Wolves that can probably outrun most of your opposition. So that can combined with the blitz is absolutely killer, and really nice team. I like the foundations of it. Got a mighty not mighty blow, a dirty player on here as well, which I'm a big fan of. The more I use fouling, the more I like it. If you go and speak to Mamiglin, he's become almost the sensei of fouling and death on the pitch. He does it every turn. He'd do it twice a turn if he could. Thank God no one has told him about chainsaws yet. Otherwise, I think there would be a lot less players left in the league. But yeah, really nicely built team. Yeah, pretty solid looking here. And then next up we have Show Me Magic and the Magic Kitties. Now, obviously, there was a bit of turbulence with like coaches coming and going and stuff, and while Magic was the beneficiary of that in some ways because he got like some admin wins here and there, he's not been able to like develop in the way he'd want to, right? Because a lot of his SPP, sorry, not all, a lot of his SPP was randomly generated, so sometimes it's gone onto the right players, and you can see here he's got 4 block warriors, which is really fucking strong actually, and he's got Mighty Blow here, but the way his SPP is falling is not natural, so in some ways this has really hindered him. So now that he's in the playoffs, we'll see what impact this has, because really he's got 2 pieces that I'm looking at and I'm going, I really like those, but that's it. He's got 2 pieces. So he's got this guy here, and he's got this guy here. So the rest will tackle. Oh, so there is tackle in here apart from the dwarves. So it looks like he's doing the right thing, but you know, due to like a couple of coaches leaving and then other coaches being unavailable, I'll put my hand up. I wasn't able to play my game with Magics, so it's no fault of his own. He's in a bit of an interesting position, development-wise. Now, I would strongly recommend Magics, and doesn't need to take my advice on this at all. He has 160k in the bank. I don't think buying Beastman is going to help him beat those Necro. I think what he needs to do with that 160, I think he needs to buy a Minotaur to give him more upfront punching. Because if he doesn't win the line of scrimmage, he's not going to be able to deal with the Wolves. He doesn't have the speed, and the players that can catch up to the Wolves don't have the strength to really deal with them. He's going to be able to get one down, maybe, but I think unless he gets a Minotaur and just decimates a couple of players early, I think he's going to really, really struggle. And it's nothing to do with coaching skill. It's just the unfortunate side effect of not being able to play all your matches through no fault of his own. So yeah, so I picked the Necro to win here, as did Sirius. You know, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If Magic picks up the Minotaur, I would maybe consider switching my pick. I would maybe consider it, because the Minotaur could have a really big impact on the game. But if it's just the teams as they are, and that he's going to take a few learners in, I don't think he can match the Necro. I think that would it's a bridge too far. But yeah, and then there was another thing that we did, which is again apologies to Sirius, because he had some great insight on some of these matches, some of which I've stole and framed as my own. Is we picked who we thought was going to win the overall tournament. Sirius has gone for Ghost and the Dwarfs, and if I'm honest, I think they've got a really, really, really good shout. I am going to roll the dice though, as this is Blood Bowl, and I'm going to pick Easily Amused. I think if he can get past the first round game without too many casualties, he's on the cusp of having some very, very strong Skaven players. So I'll be interested to see how well he can do. I also know he's a very, very, very good coach, so there's always that as well. But yeah, so for those of you that have been involved, thank you. I know there's probably a couple of you guys watching now, and you're thinking about next season and stuff like that. But yeah, just massive thanks to everyone that's been a part of the league this season, and obviously in previous seasons. Really excited to get season 5 started. We're gonna agree on because this playoffs will take three weeks, I would say. So me and the admin team are going to basically have a chat about how we handle pre-season for existing coaches. Obviously loads of cool stuff going on. So we've got like the website, we've got Scythe magazine, which is finally launched. So if you guys haven't checked out issue 1 of Scythe magazine, it's on the website now, go check it out. Some really good articles submitted, even if I do say so myself. But yeah, it's been great. Really looking forward to season 5 with you guys. I'm looking forward to casting some of these playoff games. I'm going to try and do some co-casts. I'm going to see if Magix will do one with me. I'll see if Sirius will do one with me as well. We know Arknalax will do one with me. I bet you he's just waiting there for me right now. But yeah, thank you everyone for being part of it. Whether you stay after this season or go, yeah, it's been awesome. And yeah, enjoy the playoffs.